Hi, it's Rosie, and I have a very special thing that I want to celebrate with you. It is my 1 year anniversary of my curly hair journey. After 10 years of living with curly hair, I finally decided to break typical Asian beauty stereotypes, live beyond the straight hair standard, and embrace my natural texture. I initially had no clue on how to care for it, but slowly as my knowledge grew, so did my love for my hair. And as a result, it also started looking healthier and beautiful more than ever before. For a whole year, I've been documenting my progress, my process, and sharing very practical tips that I've learned. But for today's video, I want to expand beyond that practicality. As I've mentioned before, this curly hair journey isn't just about looking good on the outside. It's also, and probably more importantly, about feeling good about it on the inside. The thing is, hair is an extension of our physical appearance. Our outer appearance and our attitude towards it is often dictated by two things. One, how we internalize and therefore exemplify our feelings about it, and two, how society determines what it should look like based on beauty standards. Keep watching to learn about the mixture of hard and heartwarming things I learned during my first year. Curly hair products are globally inaccessible. After joining a wavy slash curly hair support group, I quickly began to notice a lot of the members kept asking for product recommendations based on their specific locations. At first, I thought it was because people were lazy and they didn't know how to do a Google search, but that wasn't the case at all. Girlfriends from all over the world have already done the research, and to no avail, they were resorting to this support group in hopes that someone had an answer. It turns out that shipping sometimes costs more than the products itself, or certain areas or countries weren't selling the products because it's perceived to be a no buyer's market. This has been one of the most heartbreaking things that I've learned, that on top of having to deal with the pressure of wearing our hair a certain way, even if people wanted to embrace their naturally curly hair, they have no means to do so, either because the products wouldn't ship to their area or because it was insanely expensive to try. And you might argue, okay, well, if you can't buy a product, then why don't you make it yourself, like do a DIY version? A lot of people sometimes swear by their DIY version of a flaxseed or an aloe vera gel, which is great. You can use it to care for and style for your hair, but sometimes even those staple kitchen ingredients are not available in certain countries. All of this led to me having a deeper understanding of why it might be really hard for people of my culture and of my race to break this particular beauty standard, because products made for curly hair care aren't easily available in Asia and surrounding countries, and it's likely that caring for curly hair is cost prohibitive. And I'm going to be completely transparent and say that yeah, I'm definitely privileged in my position, you know, that I live in America, I live in California, I live in an area where everybody definitely wants to have their products sold here and have it accessible here, that it's easy for me to be part of this journey and have so much success in it. But, you know, people living in different areas of the world might not have that same luck or privilege. And I think it's really important to know and understand that and acknowledge it too. It breaks my heart knowing that this is the case, and it's something that I keep in mind when I think about, you know, when I say that I'm advocating for people living with curly hair. I have to stop and ask myself, is what I'm currently doing enough to make an impact? Is it making an impact locally, regionally, nationally, globally? You know, there's different scales of impact, and right now I'm probably having more impact and success on a very hyper local level. To be able to have impact on a more global level, I think that would be that would definitely be very life-changing. So far, I do know that there is a blogger, freelance writer, and curly hair influencer called, her name is, or she refers to herself as Honest Liz. She maintains an online shop selling international products provided directly by brands and authorized resellers to buyers in India. And that is really inspiring to me, and it's a step towards the right direction if we really want to see more global appreciation of curly hair. I also provided a link to her shop in my video description below if you want to check it out. There's a lack of education to care for curly hair. As far as I can ever remember, I can't recollect ever seeing articles that cover how to care for curly hair in printed publications. When I was younger, I used to read 17, Teen Vogue, Cosmo Girl, Teen People, a bunch of different magazines. I was really into that when I was younger. And, you know, to be honest with you, it was a dream of mine when I was younger to be, you know, editor-in-chief of a magazine or something like that. But anyway, as an adult, I'm seeing more coverage on curly hair, but mostly from niche publications and platforms like naturallycurly.com and birdie.com. Through the media and entertainment, we're mostly taught how to care for straight hair or heat styled hair. There's a wealth of information for both of those. It's no wonder that people are struggling to appreciate their natural textures when our current resources exclude our population. In fact, the lack of education is a large reason as to why it took so long for me to care for my curly hair. Not only did my mom and my family not know what to do with it, but I didn't know where to go. I didn't know who I could trust with my hair. This lack of education is exactly why I decided to pledge for Curl, the magazine for curly haired women, and its Kickstarter campaign earlier this summer. I provided a link in my video description so you can learn more about this upcoming publication specializing in curly hair. Curly hair is seen as exotic on Asian women. Before I elaborate on this, I just want to clarify that I'm not a sociologist, I'm not a historian, but I'm speaking on behalf of my personal experiences and what I've noticed in pop culture. Asian women are already seen as exotic, sexual creatures as it is, and that stereotype has been embedded for many generations, even centuries beyond my life. So before I started to care for my curls, I used to have very messy, wavy hair, and it was usually the number one thing that men point out to me in public outings. Now that my hair is curlier, I feel like people are analyzing this fine line of an existing stereotype of me being exotic, but also trying to digest the abnormality of my hair, which is both simultaneously yet separate from this idea of looking and being exotic. Because of this, I think that sometimes people can't take me seriously because they just assume that I'm doing it to stand out in a superficial way that puts me above the rest. But no, in reality, I'm doing this because curly hair is a natural part of who I am, and I'm not trying to, and I don't want to hide this aspect of me. And I'm really hoping that one day people aren't seeing this as an exotic feature, but as a natural, normal feature. Wearing hair curly is a double standard. I've mentioned my mom a few times here and there during my journey, and rightly so, because she hasn't necessarily been my biggest advocate about it. And while I do love her, despite that, I believe it's important for relatives and especially parents to realize the pressure and double standards they put on their children when it comes to curly hair. I've thought about it, and I'm coming to the conclusion that maybe the reason why my mom thinks that curly hair looks older on me is because a lot of older Asian women get curly perms. Even my mom has gotten 2 curly perms in her life, and currently she's itching to get another one. Curly hair is perceived to be many negative things, including unruly and unattractive, and perhaps, like my mom, aging to others, whereas straight hair is thought to be refined and beautiful and youthful. On top of that, I've noticed that my mom never compliments my hair, and yet when she sees curly hair on other women, she tells them that it looks beautiful. I've also noticed many others who will say things like, "Wow, I love your hair, it's beautiful." And then the next minute, they'll like whisper as an aside and say something like, "Oh, I would never want my hair to be naturally curly. It's too much work. I don't know how you deal." What I'm getting at is there's a double standard lying around about wearing our hair curly. People, like my mom, appreciate curly hair on other people, but would never want that for their own child or for themselves. And it's so obvious. I still deal with having to hear my mom say that she wants curly hair, hearing my mom compliment other people in front of me, but never acknowledging mine, by the way. We're not alone in the struggle to appreciate our curls. A few months after I began my curly hair journey, I started connecting with more and more people who were in the same boat as me. I was very lucky and honored to have my story featured on Teen Vogue earlier this year, sharing why I wish to see more Asian women embrace their curly hair. I met a girl named Yuri who created a zine featuring Asians living with curly hair. I've interviewed and met up with others who shared the same struggle, and it's been great. It's been very humbling to know that I'm not alone at all. Nobody's alone. Because of these connections, I came to the revelation that while our curls are a unique part of what individualizes us, our curls also unify us. Curly hair transcends age, gender, race, and many other differences, and it unites people once we understand that curly hair is a story and it's a trait that is echoed across many generations. At first, I thought I was alone, but I was very far from the truth, clearly. There's more work to be done if we want to provide greater access to people across the globe, whether by product or education or appreciation. I am striving to be part of that positive impact, and if you're with me on that, please be sure to say hello, whether it's here on my video channel or my other social platforms, or even emailing me. I'd love to hear and connect with you, and that is just going to help strengthen this community that we have. So I want to know, what are some of the things that you learned about curly hair in your culture? Share your insight and experiences in the comments below. Thanks for watching.